When you sharpen a knife, you want to get it sharp without ruining it or wearing it out. So you don't want to be sharpening it unnecessarily. First thing I'm going to do is test if this is sharp enough for me. Yeah, probably okay. I've got this butcher steel here, which I can utilize. You could bring it this way or this way slightly. It just is going to straighten up the burr on the knife, provided it has one, and most knives have one. I don't know whether that did anything for this knife or not. I'll see it tore a little bit there. So in other words, it will cut paper, but you're sure not going to shave your face with it. Still, that's probably all right. Now, if I were to take this knife here and do that, that'd be an interesting situation if it cut this paper. It's not wanting to cut that paper at all. If I look at the blade in the light, look down on the blade, I can see some little bright spots and I can feel them as I come up this way. So it's going to take removing a little bit of metal. This guy really doesn't remove metal, I don't think. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my Gerber diamond sharpener. I like diamond sharpeners because they go real fast. They cut real fast. Well, when they're new, they do lose some of their grit as time goes on. If you want a truly fast sharpening experience, just grab you a piece of this 3M Pro Grade Precision Fast Sanding Sheets, cut it in half, and lay it on a counter, on the edge of a counter. And boy, that removes the metal. And that's a good way to learn to sharpen. Here, let's go over here and I'll show you. You'll have to drag it. You can feel that cutting in. Now what I'm doing here with my thumb is I'm trying to see if I've reached the middle of the blade on one side. I have not. If I had, I could feel a little lip starting to develop here. Doesn't matter whether I'm coming this way or this way, it will raise a burr or a fin, some people call it a fin, on the opposite side. You always want to sharpen your knife on both sides. I'm not feeling a burr. Now, see how I'm raising the back of the knife up a little bit? Not that much, but just a little. But I think I'm going to raise it just a little more than I had it, because this is a pretty aggressive sanding sheet. And if I'm not raising a burr, I can raise the back of my knife a little bit, and then I will come closer to the edge. so I don't have to remove as much metal. And it may be in my imagination, but I think I've got a little burr there. This is 400 grit, so it's pretty fine. It's a finishing sandpaper. And the thing I'm trying to say is it's not going to raise a great big old burr like a rough sharpening stone would. The trouble with this paper is it wears out fast. This side here that I've been using is much smoother than this side over here. So let's go back over to the Gerber sharpener. Now the Gerber sharpener was probably just as aggressive as the paper when it was new, but it's no longer new. However, it does have some grit left, whereas this side of this paper, the grit is disappearing really fast. So, let's go ahead and utilize this stone. I'm pushing a little harder right now. You could drag your knife this way. Or you could push it this way toward the blade. It doesn't really matter. And you'll raise the burr on the opposite side in exactly the same manner. One thing you do not want to do is lay your knife flat down on there and go round and round, or turn it like this and sharpen. If you lay it flat down or too flat, too small of an angle, all you're going to do is scar the edge of your blade, and it'll take you forever to reach the middle. So we raised it up some. I'm going to raise it up more if I have to, because I don't want to be here forever sharpening this little knife. It's a nice little paring knife, and I'd like to get it sharp. Not so sharp that it'll cut my finger every time I touch it. Kitchen knives are nice if you can run into your finger occasionally without drawing blood. That's my opinion. On the other hand, you don't want it so dull that it won't cut a tomato. You may notice that I've got the back of the knife raised, and that I'm trying to do the same number of strokes, the same type of strokes on both sides. I did 10 there on one side just to see if I can feel a burr. I can't, but this is a pretty fine stone. And that may be the reason I can't feel the burr. I'm drying off the blade. Well, I still see bright spots on there. I'm going to have to sharpen a while, or I'm going to have to raise it up higher, or I'm going to have to go to a coarser stone. One of the principles of knife sharpening that most people like to do is preserve the original angle that the knife was sharpened at the factory. That's a good idea. I don't adhere to it too well. Right now, I'm just trying to get the job done. Hey, that's better. It's a bright spot out here on the end. When I look right down on the blade, go like this in the light, I can see a bright spot down there. That indicates that the edge is not an edge. It's more like a blunt instrument. Blunt instruments or partially sharpened things are okay for shovels and hoes, I guess, but they're not too good for cutting tomatoes. All right. I don't really feel a burr. Well, yeah, maybe I do on this side over here. So let me sharpen on that side with the burr. You know, you're really getting close to being done when the burr is moving back and forth from the right side to the left side. Theoretically, I should be having a burr over here on this side. I do. Hey, I'm about done with this knife. I'm holding it up in the back just a little. Now I feel it on this side. It always appears on the opposite side. This is good. I've got it on this side. Now I'm going to push it back the other way. I'm kind of tired of this game, so if I want to do it right, I just keep this up for a little while, real gently. But what I'm going to do is dry that knife off a little bit and go like this on my butcher steel, just lightly. Then we give it a shot, see if it's any better. It's not going to be so good that I can cut paper like a razor would, but if I hold close to the paper and come down on it, I think that's a vast improvement. I think I'll just stop there. Well, good luck sharpening your knives. And